Hey YouTube, I'm Smitesh MISTRY, a videographer, content creator, illustrator and animator. My classes on Skillshare have just launched. They're all about all the different creative possibilities within Procreate Dreams. And guess what? Today I'm sharing an exclusive sneak peek with you, so stay tuned. Okay, so let's start animating our character in the same order that we grouped it. So let's start off with the entire body first. So because I'm doing a looping animation, I don't want the timeline to be too long. So firstly, I'm just gonna go in and crop the whole timeline to about 2 to 3 seconds. So I'm just gonna use a timeline edit, select everything, and then just drag it in. And then going into the movie title and settings, properties, and then just change the duration to 2 seconds. And then let's just drag this to fit the timeline. Okay, so let's start off with our main character. So at the moment we've grouped our upper body, front leg and back leg. So let's put all these into one group as well. Hold, group. Let's delete our tracks. Just gonna color code this red. Okay, so the way that I decided to animate this character was I jumped on YouTube and just watched a few videos of people riding scooters just to get an idea of how this motion would be. Okay, so to move the character, I'm going to start off by going to the beginning of the clip, clicking on move and scale. And then because I want this to loop, I'm going to go to the end of the track, click again just to add a keyframe, just to make sure that the character comes back to the position that we started in. And then in the middle, I'm going to tap to add a keyframe, and then just drag this up. So if you watch this back, the character's gonna go up and down. Now that we've added in our keyframes, we can play around with the speed a little bit. I want the motion of this to be a lot quicker. Because we've done this on keyframes, we can just drag it. So with this, I'm just gonna drag the keyframe by holding and dragging. And then with the end one, I'm gonna drag that for about 1 second, just to see what the speed looks like. Okay, that's much better. Cool. So I'm just going to drag the entire group to 1 second. Cool. Now that we've added in our keyframes, we can play around with the easing. When I was watching videos of people riding scooters, they was very quick in the center and then they would slow down as they would come to the end of the movement. So we can do this using the easing function within Procreate Dreams. So I'm just going to hold in between keyframes on the keyframe track. I'm going to go and set all easing and then turn it to ease in and ease out. So now it will move slower around here. It'll quicken up in the middle and then slow down again. It'll quicken up in the center and then it'll slow down again. So if you watch that back, you can see the difference compared to before. So that's perfect. Okay, so now that we've animated the entire body, let's move on to the torso. So let's make sure we've selected the right one. Perfect. And then let's expand that. So let's add the animation to the entire torso. So I'm going to click, move and scale, and then like before, I'm going to go to the end of the track and then click to make sure it finishes in the same position. And then making sure the center keyframes all in the same place, I'm going to tap. And then because we changed our anchor point, we can now rotate using this little line outside the red dot. So for the top part of the motion, I want the torso to be more upright. So if we change our easing, let's watch that back. Cool. So now let's move on to our upper arm. So let's expand our group, character, and upper arm is in the shoulder joint. So what we're trying to do is here, we're trying to rotate the shoulder and the elbow just so the wrists end up staying in the same place. So because we moved away from the handle, let's rotate our shoulder joint back. So tap to add a move and scale. And then in the center, let's rotate this back again. Just a little bit. And then now for our forearm, let's expand the shoulder joint, and then let's select lower arm and wrist, move and scale, let's tap to the end, and then let's rotate this So with this, we're just going to be playing around just to make sure we end up hitting the handle. So we can either rotate the arm a bit further. So let's go back to the shoulder joint. Just rotate that a bit forwards. The lower arm, let's rotate that down. I think the shoulder joint needs to go a bit more forward. So it's just a matter of just playing around with this to make sure the wrist stays in the same place. So let's make sure all of our easing is set to in and out. So this may take a little fiddling around just to get this part right, but then the other parts are a lot quicker to do. So let's fill the timeline with just the character just to see what that looks like. Perfect. So now with the leg, let's try to anchor the bottom of this front foot to the scooter. So let's select our lower leg. Perfect. And then just to help us, let's add a track and let's just draw where the foot is. Reduce the brush size, and then I'm just going to put in 2 little markers. So like we did before, let's work from the higher group and let's work down. So let's rotate the whole leg first. So I'm going to tap, move and scale, and drag to the end. And then let's go to the center and let's add a rotation. So the track that we created as a marker, let's just expand that. So the 2 ways that you can fill the timeline with this, you can either drag the outside or you can hold the track and then click fill duration. So let's drag that out of the group just so no animation is added to it. And now let's go back to our lower leg. So we want to make sure that the ankle's in the same place, then we can rotate from the ankle later. Just going to drag that a little bit higher. And now let's set all these keyframes to ease in and out. So now we've got our leg anchored to the scooter. And now let's finish this front leg off by just adding a slight rotation to the shoe. So let's add a keyframe at the start and at the end. Perfect. So now we just have to move the upper leg just down ever so slightly. So now if we watch that back. Perfect. So now we've got it bouncing on the scooter, let's add in that back leg to make it look like it's pushing. So let's minimize that group. Let's find the back leg. And now let's animate the top group and then we'll work down to the lower leg and then the ankle. So tap to add a move and scale. Let's go to the end, tap again, and then in the center, tap one more time, and then in the center, we want him to be pushing. Select the back and shin, tap again, add move and scale, tap to the end, and then the center, let's straighten out his leg. And then finally, for the ankle. So let's locate the shoe, tap, move and scale, to the end, tap again, and then in the center, we want his ankle flexed, and then on the back, that's perfect. And then like in all the previous ones, make sure all the easing's set to ease in and ease out. Okay, so now that we've added in all the keyframes, we've got a character who's pushing forwards on a scooter. Amazing, you did it. Now I can't wait to see what you make. Join me in my brand new classes on Skillshare, where I'll show you how you can incorporate Procreate Dreams within your creative workflow.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe to stay up to date on all of our latest videos.
Thank you.